here we have our participants, José Luis Cabo Sánchez, the Sub-Director of Hydrocarbons of the Ministry for the Ministry. Alipio García is the Director of the Castilla-La Mancha government. Manuel Larrasa is the General Secretary of the Andalusia government. Laia Sarquella, Energy Responsible in Generalitat de Catalonia. José Manuel Jiménez is the Infrastructure Director of the Castilla-León government. And the moderator, the conductor is going to be Javier Fernandez. He's the Vice President of the Biogas Association. So big applause to all of them, please. Thank you, Elena. Good morning to everyone and welcome to this second day of Bioenergy Congress. And I'm so happy that we can share now time together and talk about the things that we like, that is biogas. And for that, one of the main stakeholders in the development of our sector is the administration, central administration, and also the local governments. And for that, today, we feel so happy that we have all the participants of our roundtable here at a very high level. I want to just say that José Manuel has a small problem of agenda that it just happened now. So he needs to leave, and we will not be able to finish the roundtable. But for that, I just want to let you know and to thank him for being here. So let's start. Thank you for being here today. In the first round, I would like to provide an update of the situation in each of your action territory, let's say, and how you are counting the actions that you are seeing and doing for the development of your sector nowadays. So, José Luis, let's start with you. Please tell us a bit about the gas package and the transition and everything that you want to share with us. José Luis, please. Yeah, okay. David, thank you so much, David. And to all the sponsors and organizing committees of this Congress, it's a big pleasure for being here. This is my first time coming here, but I know some other team members have been here some other years, so congratulations for all the job that you are doing, all the work that you are doing, for making these kind of spaces that are great. I would like to start by saying that about the complexity of the geopolitical situation before starting with the two topics that you said. Right now, we are in an energetic moment of transition. We are migrating from molecules and energies based on fossil fuels to more renewable elements. And there are situations that are pushing us maybe to advance in a much higher pace than we wanted. For example, the invasion of Ukraine because of Russia. Also, the conflicts that we have in Asia, and other problems like the fees problem. And with the U.S., for example. So if you make a cocktail of all of these tensions, is very important for us because we import a huge part of our energies. So it's important to advance in the measures of our autonomy, energetic autonomy, and to have it safely in Spain because it has two results: the supply safety, security, and affordable prices for the energy. The European Commission said in 2002 that pushed the state members to have a disconnection from Russia, and it proposed one of the measures was advancing in the biomethane production, biomethane gas. That's the line that we should follow. And there are different kind of fees packages for Russia, and the tariffs and the taxes, and through the repower that it was presented from the beginning of the summer. Also, we established some dates. So in 2028, we are not going to be able to import Russian gas to Spain. So we have to substitute that. Maybe biomethane could take that place, the place of the Russian gas in Spain. It's true that the volumes were very high and now are a bit lower, but there is always a space to have a more strategic autonomy and improve the prices of the energy. So in this context, the ministry launched an audition at the end of, before the vacations, the transposition of the Renewable Directive through the Real Decree of Fossil Fuels promotion, with the goal, for the ones that don't know this, to promote the decarbonization of the transportation sector. For now, we had some policies, the land transportation, it was already applied, but now we are going forward towards the air and maritime transportation means. Now we have some goals, so everyone can commit to them. And one of the goals I would like to highlight is about advanced biofuels, like biomethane is an advanced biofuel, and is 5.5% in 2030, we hope, increases. And the goal in the maritime sector is going to be very heavy, because we have a lot of fleets that had a huge decarbonization phase, and now we hope we can use the biomethane shortly, and is going to have a very high capital weight, and we hope that this could also change the benefits, which are very affordable for us, these kind of biofuels. And the results are that our energy balance can be around 3 million euros, and of course the biomethane can be a huge contributor, and all these could make advance together with these measures in order to promote the sector in general. And I don't want to forget about the measure that we had in audition last year, and we are still working, writing it, and the modification of the sectorial is the transposition of hydrogen, and it also gives a lot of importance to biomethane, because it's the state members have tried to reduce the tariffs of the renewable gas injections with the low carbon gases, with the low carbon content, to comply with the emissions measurements regulations, and to promote this biomethane, and talking about the reverse flow plants. And there are different regulations that we have to go forward when we modify the sectorial regulation in order to achieve that the biomethane can be the reality for the coming years. So the commitment from the administration is quite clear. It's set by the environmental law, and they mention all these action lines, and I think that's the line that we should follow during the coming months. With all the regulations that you are saying, we are more than happy that the development of the sector that we have been asking for since 2008, 2009, now you are coming along with this regulative company. So I'm sure we could substitute the Russian gas for sure. Please, talking about the agenda, José Manuel, please, your turn, and give us an update about how you see the situation of biogas and biomethane in Castilla-La, and how do you see it? And also, if you want to also answer the next question, what are the next steps that you are going to do from the administration? Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me to be here. And congratulations for the organization of this pavilion in Congress that each year is a bigger success, which we are very proud of. That is here also because it's here in Valladolid, in Castilla and León. The biomethane situation, actually, how we see the forecasting, let's say, in Castilla and León, we are a region with a huge potential of production. We accumulate around 35 millions of tons of organic waste from different origins that are susceptible to be treated in these plants. And we understand that a logic grid well located of plants in this community could help us to treat around the 40-50% of this volume in a simple way, more or less. Today we have our counseling that is processing 114 projects of plants right now that we are advancing, maybe slower than we wanted, but we are advancing. That's very important. And we understand that right now we have around 30% of public auditions with different kind of answers. Projects that had like 1,200 applications, but we all have a work to do there because there are many projects that are generating a negative answer from certain persons that are on the opposite of that. So the other promoters like us, we are thinking about and checking what we can do to fix this. I'm sure that this is the aspect that is the most concerning for the promoters. I mean, is the negative answer in many parts of the community about the location of the plants. But I think we all know about what we should do is inform and teach the citizens, mayors, agricultors, and farmers, so the plants can be well integrated in the territory to have a circular economy that we all want in the rural area of the community. From the point of view of processing and problems, these are problems that are just popping up, but we have overcame a lot of problems in the beginning, that we had some problems with the communication and delays and with communication, and we have improved a lot there. And now we have new problems that are emerging that we heard the other day in a national level here in Castilla and León. Thinking about the saturation of the electric grid, for example, Iberdrola has just said that 95% of the plants are saturated, and now we have the development of biomethane or any other thing with the difficulty of electrical supply problems. So now we didn't know that the gas was going to be a main character, but now it's going to be a conditioner, the development of some of the projects that are being done, and we're going to propose other solutions in order to solve this problem. For the next steps, our main goal between this year and half of the next year to process all the projects that we have in the community and advance in some of the things, the problems, the aspects that we could do now, and provide authorizations and permits to build plants. I think the best and the best challenge that we have now is to start building the first plants. And these persons who have some doubts in the territories about these projects, that they could see them and how they are built, how they work, and to see them working. And that is going to help the population who are very concerned about these installations. I know that we have been working very hard in this community. Regarding the promoters in 2025-26, to really make the rural society involved in these projects. The farmers, because initially they were like away from the projects because some new people arrived to the villages and towns, and they made them sign some contracts about the slurry supplies. But now that society, that it could be complicated, we should tackle that issue, and we have to work more on that to insist in that part of the project, because our town is filled with farmers and agricultural farmers, and they are a vital part of this project. And the cattle farmers. So we need to be able to explain much better the projects to provide this comfort that they are asking for. You're going to continue doing so. We have been doing that since we started working in biomethane. And now the sector, well, we were saying this before, these editions, these congresses are giving the idea that it is a very optimistic and strong sector in the development of these projects. So I think that we should take that boost and show it to the inhabitants, for the farmers, to be so optimistic like us and to be together, walking alone together. In that way, we hope that in 2 years, Castilla and León, we could have a distribution of plans that it could treat all the waste, that it could be different compared to nowadays. We should not forget that the 35 tons of organic waste is already there in the territory. Nobody is taking it to us. It's already there. And the plants, like the goal, is that the highest part of this waste should be treated much better than nowadays. And that's it. My conclusion. Being optimistic and collaboration with the sector, and an intense work ahead. But in this community of Castilla y León, we should be a reference in the production of biomethane in Spain. Great. José Manuel, this additional effort that you are talking about, the entire sector who is here, we will be there showing that a biomethane plant, well designed, well built, and well operated, will improve the territory. And there, the sector will be there for that, to walk together. Thank you, José Manuel. Alipio. Now we have Andalusia, Castilla-La Mancha, Castilla-León, Andalusia, Catalonia. I would say that the transition, the ecological transition, without biogas, it would not be possible, and development of biogas without these 4 communities will not be able to do so. So it's crucial in this scenario. Alipio, tell us about Castilla-La Mancha. Yes, we have a lot of waste from farming in my community, as José Luis has explained, with the pressure that we have regarding the European regulation in our government about the revision of the PNIR that has doubled the commitment of biomethane in Castilla-La Mancha since years ago. When it was constituted in 2009, the development the biomethane was very important because we needed to treat all this organic waste. And remember that this is about that. It is a key piece that the biomethanation is key in the treatment of all these waste. And in Castilla-La Mancha, we're the 3rd region with a 15.7, I think, millions of tons of production. The 3rd region with more potential biomethane. And at the same time, we have a huge opposition to the intense farming, and now we have a huge opposition to the biomethane plants generated because it has a tractor effect. And now we only want to stop continuing spreading the waste on the fields and the crops. We just want to treat it. We don't want to create more, but now we want to solve what we have right now. And in that sense, from the region, we have presented a holistic project from the beginning until the end with a trilogy like the Lord of the Rings, like the slurry project, the biomethanation project, and the nitrates treatment. It's about having to cut the bad practices. There is really regulation, but we have to minimize the bad practices little by little about the use and how the manures and the slurry are treated, and going little by little to avoid all these bad practices and to treat them with a waste digester. And also the biomethanation project, that's key. I think we are the first community with this thinking, and we want to make clear to the biomethanation sector what are the goals that we want of development in Castilla-La Mancha, what are the criteria of location in the territory, because not everything can work, and we have to start by the first locations that are the most affected by this waste. Also the storage locations, because these are very concerning for the population, how to treat the waste, the substrates, and the regulations that we need to know for the biomethane production and the odor emissions, what are the technologies. Also there is a maximum limit of odor that is allowed, and the digested treatment for the application of the crops, and the solid fraction convert that into a fertilizer with a certificate. And also the communication plan that they have already mentioned, José Manuel. And it's very important much before then starting to think about the project. But we need this project of biomethane to be well integrated in the territory by creating an economical income, and also without having any concern, and to give safetiness to the biogas sector, which is very important. And with this plan, we have thought about a 2030 goal about transforming this potential of 34% to have a production goal of 2.8 terawatt watts per hour per year in 2030. Is a very ambitious goal, but we hope to bring 1,500 millions of investment and a lot of employment. And also the last part is we should not use the manure directly on the crops, but to stop the contamination of nitrates. But we have the same problem in the underground water and deposits, so we need to fix it. That's very important about us really focusing on the waste management right now, and then we will think about some other solutions in the future. Great. We want to watch that 3 movies of the Lord of the Rings that you were talking about in Castilla-La Mancha. We will do the watching for hours. Manuel from Andalusia. You are also launching a lot of new projects with the Biogas Alliance. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for asking us to come here, to all the promoters. I know it is very important for the development of the biomethane for Spain as a country project. In Andalusia, we are the second region after Castilla and León with the highest potential of biomethane production. This is why we have created a Biogas Alliance in January. It was presented by Juanma Moreno, the president, in an amazing place in Jaén, because he has the highest potential in Andalusia. And all the sectors have participated there, like the technicians and the administration technicians as well, with a clear idea about creating the sustainable development of what the biomethane is. We have been working on a roadmap in which 5 councillors have been working together, collaborating in the Andalusia government and the development of this roadmap with some different scenarios that are very realistic in 2030, 2040, 2050, where we want to be at that year and how we want to get there and what we have to do in order to get there. One of the things that we want to present in the next meeting with 5 councillors and other associations of biogas. And this is a roadmap in which is included all the scenarios of production of plants that want to be located, and what type of plants we want to be installed in Andalusia. Now we are processing around 58 plants of biomethane, but it's concerning for us the digestate. That's very concerning. What happens with the digestate? Alipio was talking about that, but we need to value the waste. In Andalusia, we have a huge problem of waste, farming waste mainly. And what we want to do is to revalue this waste, to minimize the effects of that waste over what we have. That's one of the things that we need to know and include in this roadmap that we are trying to develop. What is concerning for us? The social opinion. So we had to think that we have to tell them that this is a waste solution. This is something that we have to insist, and it's an obligation to do so, because the people are going to have opinion. The people who are going to have this opinion, they are not economists or lawyers or technicians. These are people people from outside to come to their towns and to tell them something about the odors, for example. This is the main issue. We have to tell them that the waste is already there and is having the emissions, and these plants are going to minimize the problem. But if we build plants that are bringing waste from another areas, then the problem will be there. Because it has another goal, is the decarbonization. So if the goals of net zero, we are going to remove it because of the road transportation, this will make no sense with the decarbonization. So one of the things that we need to think in the Alliance is what kind of plans we are going to create. And it would be normal to have a plant development that we have seen in Denmark, France, or Germany, more automized, but should be located in the territory where the waste is. I think in the news in Jaén, the olive oil tree farmers are already in favor of these plants. It is an energy factor, but it's mainly solving a waste problem coming from the farming. That's the thing. This is developed in rural areas, and we have to show them that the solution to their problems of what they live, that's the way they live. And the olive oil producers, they have a huge issue with the waste, because it's a huge issue. So we need to develop a regulation. Well, it's more like develop a behavior of the development of these plants to be located where the waste is, and that's our main goal. In the 125 decree regulation, we have said that all the plant of biogas should be located where the waste is, and it's not going to be required an extraordinary regulation and paperwork, but it should be located. But if it's not located where the waste is, they should really ask for many permissions. So what we need to do is to make it easy to implement, to install the facilities where the waste is. And also we have to, talking about the saturation of the electric nodes, Jaén is completely saturated. We cannot provide much power, more than megawatts.
In
theory, the document is going to be released today. Planning for the area where it's going to be developed, methane is going to be produced. What we know about it based on the document, was approved. So future developments with the distribution grid will guarantee this type of projects. That's our situation right now in Andalusia. We have a lot to do, of course, but the most important thing are the farmers, because the autonomy, the autonomous region is not responsible alone. The producer, the promoter has to be clear and explain clearly to people who are not experts so that they realize what are the benefits for them. Biomethane plants sometimes are a paradigm. What is a circular bioeconomy? We optimize the waste management. We generate a product that becomes energy, and the biofertilizer, we produce biofertilizers. The digestate, of course, let's not forget about it. However, I would like to illustrate the fact that, talk to the Andalusia aliens, gas aliens, that biomethane plant is a paradigm for circular economy. The Biogas Andalusia Gas Alliance is a paradigm of multilateral. It's an example, an alliance of the government, Andalusia government, because you were able to actually gather to join different interests, from different sectors. So I believe that this is a fantastic initiative, and as members of the committee, we will be there to help you. Thank you, Manuel. What about Catalonia, Laia? Right now, Catalonia is has the best availability of biomethane plant and the largest number of biomethane plants. But what is going on in Catalonia now? Good morning and thank you. Good morning, and thank you to the organization, and congratulations for organizing this Congress and relying on our participation in Catalonia. We came here last year and share with you our strategy as a Generalitat government. So I would like to update that information. If I go back to 2023, when the public company, work on the energy transition, we published the energy directive with a 2050 horizon. We have to obviously focus on, we have to reduce the energy consumption, that to begin with. And also we have to electrify the demand. But taking into account this future scenario, energy will play a role in the energy demand. 20% of the energy consumption in 2050 will come from bioenergy. So based on these figures, and taking into account the current situation of the bioenergy sector, biogas, biomass, yes, we thought that we had to establish a specific strategy to promote the biomethane sector in Catalonia. We drafted a strategy in 2003. The government approved it in 2024. But we continue the digestate strategy, which was written right after, and the government has just approved this year. So we have some objectives established for the production of biogas, as our colleague said. It's not only the energy strategy, but also the valorization, material valorization strategy. The biogas, the strategy of Catalonia government also, rely on the different sectors, energy, environment. We have a governance system which is very efficient with all the involved department. It's not easy, as you said, of course, to go in the same direction. Each department takes care of their own matters, but biogas allow us to work together. And our objective of 2 terawatts per hour in 2030, we know the total potential is 8 terawatts per hour. So our objectives are ambitious, we know that, but we think it's realist. Our current situation in Catalonia is 74 plants of biogas and operational biogas plants, 7 producing biomethane, 7 of which. These 34 plants, more or less 20 use the kaolin excretions. Also, we have some water treatment plants to manage the sludge. We also have, other people to treat, the urban waste, and also landfills with capturing systems with injection of biomethane. So the biogas sector is running. It took off already, but we need some stabilization of new plans, implementation of new plans. So we would like to have, different objectives, at least, so that at least 5 to 10 median, small to median, new small to median plants would be built, commissioned. That objective, the anaerobic digestion of 9 million tons of waste, will be possible thanks to that. And the vast majority come from the kaolin excretions. As you know, the kaolin sector in Catalonia is very important. The vulnerable areas in Catalonia, some of the population include many of the populations in Catalonia. So biogas allows the opportunity to reduce the contamination into the water as well as in the atmosphere. If we talk about biogas, we have been talking about it. We're talking about reducing contamination of greenhouse gases. On the one hand, we produce, we have the waste production, but we can see the contamination in the water and the air. So it is very necessary, to talk, to discuss, to explain, so that these plants can work efficiently without, being a trouble for the population, for the society. All the projects that I will advance with good practice, are very efficient. It's very important because we've been observed by all sectors, and it's right. We have to do good practice. So biogas is an opportunity for us to show that we have technology, energy to treat, the waste generated, from the households to the industry going through the kaolin sector. So therefore, hopefully next year, we will be able to say that we have 10 more plants. Right now, we have at least 35 projects and lies in the processing and process. So they are ready to take off. Indeed, as you say, first plants should be an example for everybody, and we are responsible for that as people working in the sector. So they should be, examples and appealing for everybody, so that new plants can actually follow the best practice of the already existing ones. And Manuel said, by the way, that we have to be able to communicate even to those people who doesn't know very well, what it's all about. We should be able to convey that message. That's our responsibility as a sector. Okay. Thanks to them, we have already learned in the current situation, current scenario of, and now let's think about the future. the best way to have a good future is to create it, to design our own future. So how can we do it? What is in the coming future? We would like to repay and use. But I know there are other initiatives being launched. Please tell us, how can we prepare the future from our sector, from our field? Yes. As the national plan of energy and integration is planning, that allows to be some confident in order to use technologies can be further promoted or not. Anyway, the government wants that, from the energy, so that we will be in this scenario in the 2030, 2050 horizon. And I believe this is one of the main questions for the future. Spain has this competence. We are structured in such a way. When it comes to approve biomethane projects, the administration structure is taken into account when it comes to the approval, to licensing, So when it comes to simplifying, the administration part, that will be great. With a single one-stop window to simplify this type of measures. We are analyzing what we can do. However, perhaps sometimes, we cannot do what we can. We are against, the country reality sometimes. But this is not a negative message. What I'm saying is that we are trying to simplify, streamline, the project's administration procedures. Regarding the climate change 2021 agreement, there was some text saying how we can promote renewable energies in our country. Based on that, we have different roadmaps, such as the hydrogen roadmap, and the biogas roadmap. Both were based on some objectives. Hydrogen was 4 gigawatts, and the other one, biogas, was about 11 terawatts, more or less. And based on the updated national plan for 2030, the ambition is bigger when it comes to the renewable gases role, so the objectives were double. Multiply by 2. So 20 teras is the objective for 2030. So, of course, we have to continue progressing, making some advances. There are some measures included in this planning, such as the quotes establishment, tariffs establishment. Of course, this is a measure to be taken into account. That fees establishments, and we know that this is, important. It's a structuring measure for the sector because you are for sure that the renewable gas is going to be there in a few years because someone is going to buy it anyway. So that part is something to take into account. But also we have to valorize and quantify any economical impact of these fees. That's something that we have been doing for many years. And the biogas, the gas-specific sector was not actually tackled. But we have the 8 grants or incentives lines for the energy, the AEBIG, with a tending of 150 million euros and a second tending not attending, but a call, a second call that is ready to be launched. Also now we are tackling the framework, the European framework. We are more or less fighting against them with our taxpayer-paying department so that they actually know the reality of the renewable gas, this renewable gas, and other renewable gas, because we know we are aware that as of today the position about biomethane is the same as it is on the natural gas, which is not reflecting the principle so-called whoever contaminates is who pays. So in the future, biomethane, renewable gasoline, whatever, hydrogen, renewable hydrogen might benefit from some tax exemptions. So from the tax point of view, we take into account the renewable molecule. But I don't want to forget about the reality, our own reality. We need measurements, but things have been doing rightly. Today we had 20. And a few years ago, we had only 4, so 11. So, it is growing in an exponential way. So perhaps next year, we can find more implemented. Another measure that's going to be very useful to implement this is the so-called plant connection procedure that we started last summer. As a result, we know that 300, actually requirements to implement these plans, reached us, which reflect what is going to be this sector in 5 years, which quantify the injection, biomethane injection potential to more or less 25 terawatts per hour, and 300 terawatts per hour was the consumption for Spain this year. So based on these measures, we can say that Spain can benefit from the decarbonization through the biomethane production. Of course, electrification is one of the priorities, the government priorities, but some uses cannot be decarbonized, and that's where biomethane is going to play an important role in the few years. As a biogas sector, we talk about fees to the commercializing companies, distributors. They should be, obliged, should be a must. We participate in different projects, European projects, with other associations from other countries. And this is something that is always discussed, which is, I believe, is essential in order to attain those aims, because energy level as such a power EU, established very ambitious, 10% of this belongs to Spain, but as the European Commission in the last report, 2023 report, the potential established for Spain is about 4.1 DCMs. The sector, you are happy to hear that. We are very active. So let's just establish ambitious objectives, aims. We need, the investment security confident. Okay, Laia, now let's talk about the future, your initiatives that you are going to focus on in Catalonia. Please tell us.
Presente y futuro. Tenemos un grupo de...
Our working group in Catalonia is analyzing, along with the agriculture and environment regional departments, the urbanistic and environmental aspects. We are trying to reduce the whole process to double tasks, and we are making some changes in the regulation to simplify, streamline processes, urban process. And Nayara said yesterday, an action that is being implemented is the publishing a memorandum, for environmental study, because we discuss a lot with the administration to prepare the projects, the application projects. So to be sure that everything was well structured, because you lose so much time, when the information is not well, published, revealed. We working always side by side with the energy cluster in Catalonia that gathers, half of the companies in biogas companies in Catalonia. Thanks to this measure, we can continue with the next one. Biogas projects were stated as strategic, comply with some criteria, such as buying 50% of the inlet material from the kaolin waste, free from contaminants. These projects, strategic projects, we want for these projects, strategic projects, to be actually completed, and sooner. And also the entrepreneur office is involved in this. We want the traceability throughout the process, and hopefully this will help us to be more agile with our 35 projects to be implemented in not more than 2 years. Also, we implemented specific aid lines for new biogas plants with kaolin excretions. Also, we have 80 million euro budget for 2 calls, and we subsidy the treatment of biogas that is injected to the grid. Now we're running, dissemination and dialogue measures with the citizenship. We are trying to prepare, a triptych for the citizens and analyzing, the carbon trace with objective data to know what is the improvement of the decarbonization represent when it comes to biogas plant. We are preparing all these actions, the communication actions, which are so much needed, now and the coming years as well. Yes, we have so much to do, in that regard. I agree. Hopefully, will be great, very successful. Now, you were saying that Andalusia's government knows what are the leverages. First of all, the first thing to do is a meeting next week with 5 councillors to establish what we want to develop with a roadmap, the corresponding jobs with the different working groups to develop, the permitting, the technology, etc. Our advantage in Andalusia is that we have already finished, our hydrogen work, which comes along with electrification planning, so that it is for real. And our aim is to find, a similarity with biogas. But of course, we need to take into account the infrastructure for the biogas operators, so that it will be easier when it's injected in the grid. Because the plant doesn't make sense if we don't inject it in the grid. So we need to talk with an operator to find the connecting points. Otherwise, it will not make sense. So we we want to replicate some effects, such as. So the power generation is not centralized anymore, it's distributed, and in the electric power generation is generated in some areas where some hubs, are sending the energy to the northern region, the northern part of Andalusia. This is a country project, but we don't want to generate it to export. We wanted to generate this to appeal different industries.
Queremos traer la industria a Andalucía, que venga la tecnología, que se implante.
So that's what our aim, the current situation, not the 50 situation, but the current situation now is different. Our talented people are to be taken into account. So we have the opportunity now. We want to take advantage of it. So in the biogas sector, we want to optimize what we have done in the electric and the power sector, which was successful. Of course, there was some social response, as if any other thing, but it has been improving. We launched a package to optimize what we have done. So we want to replicate that with the biogas subject. So for that, we need to speed up the administration procedures, operational licensing, but also some developments by the central administration so that everything is held together. Because this is something, there's something else to it. Biomethane as such is okay, but if we make methane, it will be biomethane. It will be great, because that's what the added value. And we have this ability in Andalusia to generate a very competitive energy to produce biomethane, which is competitive, which is the added value indeed. For example, in Andalusia, I think we have almost 5 gigawatts of combined cycle. If it's fed with biomethane, those combined energy plants will become will work with fully renewable energy. So if we add 7 more with wind power generation, those 5 gigawatts combined energy plants will be almost renewable. So the decarbonization effect will be duplicated. And so the development of the biomethane in Andalusia will be self-sufficient to maintain those plants maintenance. We have to be ambitious, but at the same time, we have to be realistic, of course. And we believe that deadlines are realistic. Our deadlines are realistic. We actually were successful in the solar production sector now with the hydrogen, because 40% of the hydrogen being consumed in Andalusia, is used and consumed in Andalusia. And now we are going to do the same with the biomethane. It is important, as you said, to be realistic, okay, to know what is the clear aim for the future. As sectors so complex, such as the biogas sector, we need an arranged and ordered growth. And our ordered growth, for us, this will work only if everybody is with us. No one is excluded. So we need good results. Alipio? Well, what about Castilla-La Mancha? As I mentioned before, now we are proceeding the biomethanization plan, because we are, according to the Royal Decree, so are making the waste producers to treat their waste, and in the same way to tell the biomethane sector that they have to be confident regarding this. So through the regulations of the Royal Decree, that's the best way to actually be confident. And so that there is no changes or opinion change, there is certainty that the sector needs. Not only that, but in that sense, and also it was actually a public call different allegations were submitted by different sectors. So we are analyzing biosectors because we are exhausted, with the dialogue, with the discussions with the agri-food sectors. So the associations, farming and cattling sector recognize the biomethanization, recognize that their need and be supported instead of being in opposition to the biomethanization to treat this waste. And briefly, that will be again, we will launch as a public call. So.
And to work together until it's published in the official page of the region. Then we have that goal that we are rushing, so it could be ready at the end of this year, but maybe it's going to be approved for the next year. But we are happy because we are enriching it with all the opinions of everyone. That's important to have a good term. It's not about being right, but it's to progress. That's the most important part. Also, we are increasing the renewable gas transition. We call it the G team. This team is helping to do a more agile processing together. And in the first processing of AI is going to be done in environmental quality. So the memories and projects that are going to be applied, the first analysis is going to be done by these AI. So we are teaching the AI, we're training the AI. So in the fastest, in a faster way, for example, in only 1 month. This is a figure that we like a lot. There could be some subsanations. So the information that we need, the hardest task that is now reflected, it could be there in the first month. We have detected that the projects that we are processing are lacking, well, some of them, they are not deep enough because they are not really considering some factors like transportation or where the waste is coming from. And we were talking about this, about the size. The size of the plants should be determined by the waste available in the municipalities around. And we also talked a lot about the declaration of priority projects. For example, in Castilla-La Mancha, these projects could be well fitted, very suitable. Some of them were given, but that was not a main goal in the region. It was more like to process all the serious projects in a very agile way and very serious. To other projects presented in Castilla-La Mancha, and I want to invest in Castilla-La Mancha because those are a priority because they are processing or they are treating the waste. And we have reserved with a new priority, well, we call it strategic investments. We have some goals, because if they are achieved by these goals, we are going to declare priority projects. And for example, it should be within the vulnerable areas, for example, the nitrate areas, and it should be the places where the farming are very intense and is contaminated by this waste. So these plants that at least half of the plants that should take the digestate, half of the digested should be slurry or also pomace, olive pomace. And also they should commit to the solid fraction to convert that into certified fertilizer, like 100%. The same as the liquid fraction, they should be completely treated for the reduction of nitrogen. And also a very important thing, talking about the society, to include socio-economical solutions to compensate this economically. But for that declaration for a priority project, it should be included. Also, if they are focused in agro-farming, but mainly social projects and agro-farming projects that should be established in the same municipality or plant, that should be the same as social responsibility. And also, in parallel with the decree as the processing of nitrate decreed to use organic nitrogen as fertilizer, to stop using the synthetic fertilizers or the mineral fertilizers. So at the end, we want to create some regulations to push this recycling process starts of the waste treatment starts. Great, the G team, great. I offer you my hand to do an Italian job. Each time I go to Italy and I talk to my Italian colleagues, they allowed us to use the new regulations to do a permitting of a few months. And they have also thought about the things that we don't know, is the impositive silence. It exists, it exists. And we want to apply the impositive silence in the majority of the processes. And the responsible declaration, but in the environmental declaration, that's a very tricky thing. We're in the limit. So I want to ask for the last valorization assessment from the sector. Please tell us briefly how we could help you. Ask us now how we could help you to have these initiatives to be successful that we all want. José Luis. Thank you for giving us the opportunity for us to asking you things, because usually it's the opposite way, so thank you for that. It's true that from the general administration, we are not in contact with the territory, with the land, so I'm sure they have a more certain petition. But for me, the most important thing right now is to achieve to increase the social acceptance of biogas and biomethane. More than that knowledge that the people that you're explaining this to, it should be more rational instead of passional. And also not understanding it, but also feeling that this plant is really generating a positive impact in their environment. So that's maybe something that is not getting them, or we are not explaining that well. It could be. But the compensatory measures are only environmental. There's nothing else. So taking to the citizens something that we can generate with that plant, that will be fundamental, very important. So we will be there. Alipio? In 2 lines. One of them is, as I was saying, please allow me to say that using us, we are not a consulting company or engineers, but when you are sure about something, about a project, after reading your biomethanation project, it could be suffer some modifications, but not substantial modifications. Please present the project with some time ahead and together, as if we are doing a previous consulting. I know we have a very complex agendas with a lot of work for the technicians, and we don't work many people in the ecological processing projects, but we want to give you our concerns and sensitivity, because what we see in our territory is the opposite, or the popular opposite. I was saying we need to mature the projects well before presenting them, because otherwise we are using a very valuable time, you and us, of resources and economical resources. So in this, just talking about the things that you need to fix, and that takes too long, and also talking about the social opposition, we need a very powerful dissemination program before anyone knows about this. It has to go before that. It's not about talking to the city hall, but it's talking to the society and the territory. Their own families of farmers should defend these projects, and we should develop these economical aids also for these plants. With the experience that we have of the renewable electricity plants, we need direct solutions for the citizens, not only for the taxes and tariffs of the city hall, because the binding is being lost with the industrial process. we need a relationship during the entire activity of the company or the industry, a direct relationship between the benefits and actions and socio-economical actions of different sectors with their own brand, with their industry. And to really support this, and I know you are doing, because I remember last year that I saw a huge evolution of what you are applying in the technology. You should always hit excellence in all the projects that you are developing. That's great that you are opening doors for us. Thank you so much. Manuel, very briefly, as Alipio has said, and Laia, work on the territory. The projects are achieved if we receive the social approval. Otherwise, the administration cannot do anything. So work and work and work in the territory. I know it's very heavy, but it's you will always have someone opposing to it. But at the end, you need to achieve the social approval, because they're going to locate something that for them could be very disturbing. Yeah, it's a true. To really think about realistic plans with specific locations and the materials of the place and the waste, and a lot of conversations with the citizens and the administration. Well, thank you very much to all of you. Thank you for sharing this time with us, for enjoying, and I hope you have all enjoyed as much as we have done here on the roundtable. And thank you. Please, big applause to them. Thank you.